Hi, I'm Kellyanne Chaos. Welcome to this channel, Stone the Crone. Today I wanted to talk about my peak trans moment. That was, I was having to think about it earlier, and that was like 8 years ago. Yeah, crazy. My son used to play card games when he was younger, and yeah, he used to play with a group of teenagers down at the local youth club, and he was one of the youngest ones there. Um, he had some lovely kids down there for sure. One kid in particular, really smart, really intelligent young man. And my son was 7 at the time, and this kid was 14. At the time, I used to smoke, so I used to sit out, smoke the old ciggies. So I used to sit out the tree, park bench, and have a cigarette. And when they'd have their break, they'd sort of come out, have a chat, and go back in. My kids, check up on me, and this kid would come out. Always seemed like a nice kid. I got to know his mum. His mum used to be involved in the centre, so after a few years you get to know them. Reasonable kid. As I've mentioned before, I've done reenacting in the past, and we had this kid, well, by this stage, young man, by this stage, he's 21 years old, so, we'd known them for quite a long time. He came out to myself, so at this stage my son was 14, that he was trans, and at first he's like, "Hey Kelly, guess what?" And I'm like, "What, mate? Yeah." And he's like, I'm like, "Are you gay?" Because, I sort of, probably a bit that way, I assume that bit right leaning, so I put it out there. He goes, "No, I'm trans. Do you know what that means?" And I went, "Yeah, I know what that means." Very willing to play along and, of course, be kind. The kids and teens by this stage, they weren't doing the local youth centre anymore, so they had moved on to a local shopping centre, and there was a game shop there, and they were all playing there, so I used to take my son and daughter there weekly as they were middle to older teens. And, this young fella started to come out. This was about the time when he came out to me saying that he was trans. So yeah, when we're at the Abbey and doing the Middle East and medieval reenacting, I made a costume for this person, full garb, as they would say, the headpiece, the necklace, the full costume. And, reasonably big fella, as in not heavy, but very, very, very tall fella. So, with the medieval festival, the thing is very specific on the details of the reenacting, like you have to be within your historical and show proof and that type of thing. So, realistically, a man should not be reenacting as a woman at this medieval festival. But, never mind, that's what happened. It was very strange, and everybody there, all the other reenactors were very, very accepting. They were very kind. I'll say, if you hear my dog snoring, she's underneath the table here at the back. She's just had an operation to cut out cancer, so I do excuse if you hear her snoring away there. So fast forward, we had this particular fella reenacting with us in the family, with my then 14-year-old and my 12-year-old girl. And they're very immature young man, very much into the anime, very much into that whole Japanese anime sort of, more of the, not so much Sailor Moon, but the more like the warrior type of ones. So that was, yeah. So they would stay here. Their mum used to work quite close, and we would go to the shopping centre, they'd play the cards and all that sort of stuff. And they started social transitioning. Just little things, deodorants, tops, nail polish. And you have them on Facebook and you correspond and that type of thing, so, look, really, really decent young man, but immature, but not, the moment that sort of really piqued me with him, he was never, you can't say he was a woman, not for 1 second could I honestly say, oh my God, not with any cell in his body, not with anything he would say, not with any gestures. Anyway, Facebook, and you're reading the little news things that frickin' come up. And it was just this one comment, hey? It was just this one comment that really sort of what the fuck? And it was, suck it, bitches, I will never have a period. And I was like, what? And I couldn't understand that. I just couldn't get my fucking head around that whole concept that you could be a woman and then speak to women like that, and I think it just blew my mind. Fair enough. Really, you can leave your period. No one's fucking loving it, right? But it was just fucking weird. Anyway, so I sort of put that, okay, it was fucking. It's not gonna. I'm not gonna write him off over it. It was pretty fucking bizarre, but I'm not writing him off over it. And it was it was literally the moment when he came out and he actually said he was a lesbian. And then it was the following year that he had reenacted, and he came in full medieval wenches costume with sort of a piratey kind of theme about it, with this girlfriend, and he's introducing her as his lesbian girlfriend. She had to be, she was younger than him, probably 2 years or something like that. But this was 8 years ago. And I'm just going, what the fuck is this shit? Nah, sorry. Nah, you're not a lesbian, mate. You're not. So, look, it was after that I sort of pretty much took him off my Facebook page, and I just wasn't really having, in all fairness, him really around my kids, because my kids were were a bit younger, so at that stage my boy was 15 and my girl was 13, and I just thought, nah. And I recommended both of them maybe consider taking him off the Facebook page, but he certainly wasn't coming back into my house. Not at all, and we weren't doing any more. I wasn't encouraging any more catch-ups or reenacting or things like that. It just was a bit bizarre. Anyway, I thought I'd share my peak moment. You know, like I suppose too, it's not really like you don't have like these defined peak moment. Like, I mean, you probably, I don't know, I probably have climbed the Matterhorn of fucking peakness in the last 8 years to the point that I'm here now. And I've got to really say something, you know, like, and I feel pretty shitty. I feel like a bit of an a-hole, you know. I really should have spoken up earlier about my feelings, but you go around having conversations with people, you know, like, another moment I had was literally probably 6 months ago. You know, I was talking to my husband's mate, and he we were talking about I was talking about the trans issue, and he said, "Yeah, you've been banging on about that for at least 3 years now." And I sort of looked at him and I went, "Oh yeah, yeah." And he said, "You know, what's the you get I don't understand the problem you've got." And I just said, we don't want them in there. I personally don't want them in me bathrooms and stuff. Like, I like me long flowy dresses. I'm sick of fucking being in a club. Like, cause this night we're at a club. We're watching my husband's band, and I said, like, dude, you know, and he goes, well, can't they just go back to the fetish clubs? Mate, I think we're fucking past that. You're not putting it back. You know, the fucking genie's out of the bottle, mate. You're not putting that fucking motherfucker back in at this stage. We've got to deal with it. You know, and then I sort of mentioned to him, because he's a fucking lovely bloke, you know, we're middle-aged motherfuckers, and they play rock and roll, you know, middle-aged motherfuckers are both rock and roll, like, and I said, mate, you tell me, my sisters, my mothers, my daughters, me fucking grannies, you know, me fucking bestie, fucking, can you please let me know what I have to, and the rest of us, like, women, have to listen to some cunt fucking masturbating in the fucking toilet, putting up with fucking jizz and the fucking rest. I'm like, dude, you know, piss on the seat, piss on the floor, you know, really? And he went to me, which was a bit of a like, fuck, how you going? He said to me, yeah, I've heard that. I've heard the guy at the next door having a toss. I'm like, my point exactly. Please. You don't have that fucking shit in there. You know? And each one of these conversations, you know, these little bits of, you know, the story of the kid, you know, made the full friggin' costume to reenact in. You know, the hours it took to make that fucking shit. For this fucking kid, this teenager, to just run around and, you know, and like, you know, but got away with it because, you know, like, because we did the Middle East, so got away with it because did the little headpiece and the little, fuck me, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, Do agree with my husband's mate, though. Would be nice if they went back to their fucking fetish clubs. Anyway, I just thought I'd share a couple of peak moments with you. Probably think of some others. Little random fucking moments of it. But yeah. So yeah. Been thinking about it for 8 years. Been banging on about it for 3. So I thought I'd best get this friggin' show on the road, eh? Anyway. Thanks for listening. Staying out.